Hi, this is Jack Downs with a little run through of an explanation of column rules, which are going to be used in the put it together or put it all together exercises 2 and 3, and then the future exercises also, and then a little explanation about that exercise. Of course, as usual, you've got a handout for the exercise. As usual, you've got your regular template. You've got files to download, all that stuff, and you use the instructions there for that. I shouldn't have to be telling you that again. So we have a page here, nothing special page, kind of a basic page, and we have a big 6-column story on top, kind of our lead story. This will be a standalone photo here. This would be another story, I don't know what it's about. Then some other story. This is an older page, but what's going on here is these units. You've done some of these units. You've done a 6-column story. You've done a 2-column story. You've done a story with a photo. This is actually, they're separate. But the separations between everything are noted by column rules. Column rules. Column rules. So the key thing is, how do we use these column rules? Where do these column rules come from? How do you do them, right? Notice that we have a horizontal column rule and then vertical column rules. Notice that there is space above and below or to the left and right of each one. How much space is there? It would be the equivalent of a gutter above and below or to the left and to the right. So in other words, space has been removed from the page. This doesn't use just the existing gutter, it creates an extra gutter, or the equivalent of a gutter in this format above and below the rule. To see what the rules are really doing, let's look at the page mapped out. It's separating these out. It's making it easier for readers, even subconsciously, to tell what goes with what and what doesn't. That's one unit, that's one unit, that's one unit. We have some other things going on here. We have a label, which is causing this to be separated. This thing is in a box. It's causing it to be separated. And there's another box here. This bottom box perhaps wouldn't be necessary. So we don't only have column rules, we actually have boxes. And the truth is, in the real world, we have some things we use column rules for lots of things, but sometimes something might be in a box. And these are just ways to keep things separated. So when we look at column rules, this is what's important, is that they don't touch. All right? They don't break into each other's space. If you have a horizontal one on top and then a vertical one, the vertical one starts where the stories start. Right? And continues along. When we put a box around something, that's another option. Is I say these days it's rare to see papers that don't use column rules. But you could theoretically say, if I just put a box around this, everything else is kind of separated. And there would have been in the old days some papers like that. I think column rules are very common now. And look at how a box works, though. If we use a box around something, as we will be in a future exercise, it kind of works the same way as a column rule in a way. It doesn't touch copy, right? There is the gutter space above and an inset space inside the box that duplicates that gutter space. In fact, with boxes, you might even put something that has a lot more space on the inside, too. I wanted to show you about some column rule errors. I think I have a presentation sort of about that. Column rule problems. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So here's one of the problems you could end up with. What if the head is not aligned with the column rule or with the other stuff on the other side of the column rule? That's a problem. Oh, there's a problem here. The head is too small for the top of this page. Why? Because the column rule took some space and then just made the head smaller, probably. Notice that there is no double gutter here. Some people will take column rules and strip them down the middle of the existing gutter. In fact, there's even some publications you might run into where that is the style. It's not the style for our class, and I think in general it's not the style. In general, we acknowledge adding more space is better than essentially taking space away. So we need to. This would be wrong. We need to have a double gutter. Of course, the story alignment still matters with this too. The rules do not touch. We equalize the spacing above and below the rules. See how it's so tight here and so loose there? And that takes some eyeballing of it, too. The rule ends where the story ends. Also, I would say in general, vertical rules have the right of way. See how the vertical rule continues right on down through. This one does not, this story does not go across all 6, so this horizontal rule should stop at the edge of the copy here. And of course, there should be more space around it too. So that's some ideas about some of the problems we may have with rules. Okay, let's look at the exercise. In your exercise, it says to take, first you're just going to make a regular 4-column story package with 2 photos. And it'll look something like this. Here it is. Here's mine. This is an old copy about from the Golden Globes. And photos. Okay, good. You have to write real cut lines, including credit lines. I'm seeing some people without credit lines. You have a file of cut lines. Edit the cut lines. Make them shorter. Make them make sense. Don't have. There might be other garbage text in there. Get rid of it. You have to write real headlines. I suggest you write 2. This is the lead package at the top of the page. Sure. And a secondary photo. I suggest it be a vertical. This is actually more square actually than vertical, but you get the idea, right? And another cut line. And of course, things will have to be aligned. And I ask you to do subheads. Oh yeah, I want to do subheads. So let's look at subheads. Just to remind you, because I've seen some issues with subheads. What is? I would say Jennifer Lopez. This is what this paragraph is about. Okay, so I almost did a shortcut here. There's a quick apply feature, which maybe you want to start getting used to seeing. If I do Control and Enter, I get quick apply, and I can find my paragraph styles here, right? Including my subhead style. Where the heck is it? They're just arranged alphabetically up at the top. There it is, subhead. Subhead. Okay, that's how we apply. Now, of course, I could have gone to the paragraph styles and found subhead there also. The nice thing is, if you have something you apply repeatedly, like subhead style, next time when you go to do it, it'll be the choice that comes up top, and that Control Enter. Now, that's a shortcut. Anyway, blank space above, no blank space below. Apply the style. It should automatically be centered like that. Good. What else? There's a lot of pink and hues, soft and neon. I'd say lots of pink. Control Enter. Oh, it's not finding it. I just hit S for subhead, and there it is. And then I could say maybe something like, how about single quote, looked incredible, and single quote. Subhead again. Okay, and I need to have a blank line above it, blank line above it, and then I can put one more in. I don't have to do this many, but I could. I ask you to use subheads. Diamond and emeralds. How about neon green? Right? Yeah. And another subhead. And another blank line above it. All right. Did you notice that there seems to be like some things seem to be kind of missing a little bit? This is a little preview glitch you can get. I do Control minus Control plus again, and it comes back. The thing was actually missing. It was just a preview I was getting. If things that drop out occasionally, that's a preview issue. So I would have to align these, right? I get the right number of lines now. And so on. So anyway, this would be number 1. You have to write your heads, write your cut lines, and so on. This could be number 1. You could do it slightly differently. You could change the measures or something. But I ask you to make a 4-column package. So you'd save this, export it, and then you're going to move on from here. And that's all to do next class. And in fact, you probably maybe finish this in class already. But now we want to use the column rules. And we're going to do 2 different versions with the column rules. So where do the column rules come from, and where do we use them? If you go to your library, I'm going to find something called column rules, and here it is. I'm going to drag it out here. I'm doing my space bar to get my hand tool to move around. Right, good. I'm going to move this out of the way. I move these column rules out of the way too. And in fact, I could then copy it and make a couple extras if I wish. I have verticals and horizontals. What is this? This is a little grouped box with a rule in the middle of it, and the spacer is the space we need that equals a double gutter. So if I put this right here, it is showing me the space that I would have left on this side. Notice that column rules take space away from the page. You lose a gutter. So where is that gutter going to come from? So I'm asking you in this story to take the, in this case, to take the lift story and make it 2 columns. I grabbed too much stuff. And make it 2 columns beside here, right? Oops, get in there, you. Things don't want to lock in. You just zoom in a little bit until they do. Good. Zooming in will help you get more fine control. So I can't have these stories sitting like this. I need to have a divider between them to show what goes with what. Here's my divider, but it's not going to fit in there because I need to lose a gutter from one side or the other. Which side do I lose from? Honestly, you could guess that it'll be easier to lose it on the right because you just have this one thing to do. And I'm going to say that's what we'll do in this case. But you should be prepared for the option of losing it from the left, which means everything over there has to get smaller. And the idea of making everything smaller or bigger or moving things around like that is something we have to do. So if I go over here, I would draw a column rule and drop it on the edge of my, guide and drop on the edge of my column rule. And I would take each of these things, I would close them up to that point. I would lose my gutter. Now I'm going to have to realign this here. Actually, it worked out fine like that. And then I'm going to have to I would grab this box. I'm selecting with my regular selection tool this box. If I grab the middle one and yank it down to wherever I want to be, I'm not quite sure yet, but it's there for now, and let up, what happened? It gave me the rule in the middle with this equalized space on either side. That's what I want. Alternatively, if I put it on the other side, I would draw a guide and I'd make everything smaller, a little bit smaller over there, and shrink everything down, and maybe change other measures or stuff. This is only change the story just slightly. If I felt like this measure was getting too narrow, then I would have to deal with this and maybe go the other way or change this to only one stick perhaps. Still have to write my headline and so on. Okay. Also, it says in the instructions to use the Nevada story below here. Here's the Nevada story, and it's got a. By the way, it's got a photo also, right? So it's going to go in here someplace. Where is it going to go? I need to have a horizontal rule there. So I'm going to draw my horizontal rule. I'm going to open it up again, just as far as it goes, which is right there. It doesn't interrupt the vertical rule. And now I'm going to grab this whole package and yank it up to there. And I'm going to use my little arrows to fine-tune it. And then I'm going to go off on W and realize it's pretty good, but I see my space above the rule is a little bit more than my space below. And that's very common. It's hard to position the horizontal rules perfectly. So you look at it and you eyeball it. And I'd say I'm going to just click on it and go up one click. And maybe I'll click on this whole package here. Select all that whole package there and go down one click. Use my arrows. I think that's more equalized there. I'm looking at the space above and below. I want a good amount of space there. And then I'm going to have to write my head, I have to write my cut line, I have to do my alignment, and I'm going to have to close this up to a certain point. It's going to be around there, but when I write my cut line, I'll know exactly where I am. I'm going to have to make my photo slightly small, just tiny crop or something maybe to get that aligned there. And does it say to use column rules? Subheads in this one? Subheads to the lift story. Nevada story will go in 4-column unit. Use the headline, should be bold. You have to read the story and think, is it a serious story or is it a lighter story? And also, how's that bold going to fit with the rest of the page? It says something about having to drop this second photo here. I don't see us having to do that because I'm going to fit on here fine. But I do want to bring to your attention that this column rule now is going to continue down to wherever the bottom of this copy is here, wherever that alignment happens down there, which is probably going to be more like here. So that's where my column rule is going to end, wherever that ends up there when I get it finished. Okay, good. And then, so I'm going to ask you to save that whole thing, you export it, right? So you didn't fill the page, but you got a feel for using column rules, vertical and horizontal. And then you're going to continue. And number 3 says use the same content, only rearrange it. Now, lead with the lift story over 6 columns. Okay, good. Use a 6-column 2-head library element. Use a small photo. There's a photo with the lift story. Now you can use that. The golden package now drops down the page. You should reduce the head size. Do you still want or need a deck head? Okay, good. The Nevada story now will run beside the golden package. So it's the same stuff, but rearranged, and rearranged in importance too. Excuse me. So this package now becomes the lead over 6 with a deckhead also, which you may want to use this 6-column 2-head unit here instead, and then paste the story in. This whole package drops down the page, therefore, on the left or the right, you decide. Okay, good. And it's no longer the lead, so it gets smaller heads and maybe just one head. See how it works out. Okay. The Nevada story will now go over beside this. Now it will slide over here and become a 2-column story beside this, but now this is all lower down the page here. But it will need a bigger head now, probably. If this went down to 30, which is an option for you, this could go down to 30. If it goes up here, it's going to need a bigger head, and maybe you need a bigger head anyway. So you're going to have to be rewriting heads, because the head sizes are going to change, and the number of heads are going to change probably. So now, no photo for the Nevada story when you do that. Now, the column rules will change also. Imagine you're going to have a 6-column unit up here. You're going to have a horizontal column rule that could go all the way across, and the vertical column rule is going to go down and stop at a certain point. That's number 3. You save that work, and you export it, and then you're all set for number 3.